Hey guys, and welcome on into another episode of Getting Wild and Flying High, free NHL and MLB picks. I'm Terry, ready to break down today's slate. I guess I'll start the show off with um, before we get to the best bet segment. I'm going to unleash my frustration now. Yesterday in the MLB, um, there was one game that finished with less than 8 runs. That was the game that I chose over for my best bet in um, Texas and Baltimore, I believe. Um, and it's just it's frustrating because every other game went over the total of 8 except that one. So a very frustrating loss, but that's how it is. And it's going to happen in sports betting, and you just have to keep on plugging along. I know I'm going to turn a corner soon, and I've going a completely different route with my best bet today than I have been. So we'll get to that here shortly. We'll start the show as we usually do, and that is taking a look at what happened yesterday in the NHL. So to make matters worse, losing my best bet, Minnesota has the lead over Vegas with 33 seconds left. Vegas was pressuring. Minnesota was tired. Um, and there was nothing Gus could do. Vegas was just relentless. And with 30 some odd seconds left, Vegas scores, and it goes to a shootout, goes past the goes into extra time in the shootout, and Vegas gets the win, which was very upsetting, as the Wild had that game in their grasp up to the final 30 seconds. But because they got a point, and because Dallas beat Nashville, Minnesota is once again in the playoffs. They are guaranteed a playoff spot. Uh, Dallas with the 5-1 win over Nashville, huge win for Dallas, who's in the driver's seat for the Central Division title. They have the easiest remaining schedule of Dallas, Minnesota, or Colorado. So very big win for them. Arizona and Seattle. Well, the Kraken. The first time these teams meet, the first of 3 meetings over the next week, and the first one goes to Seattle in um, blowout fashion. Looking at the standings for the NHL, yes, we will eventually look at standings in the MLB. That will be once the regular season for NHL is over. We'll switch over and start looking at MLB standings as well. Carolina, New Jersey, New York Rangers, 107, 104, 101. Pretty close battle here for the Metropolitan Division. Atlantic, same as yesterday, basically, and don't expect much change here going forward. The wild card spot still down between these 4 teams: Islanders with 87, Pittsburgh with 86, Florida with 85, Sabres with 81, Sabres with games in hand. And huge game coming tonight between Florida and Buffalo, which we'll get to. After that is teams that are pretty much eliminated, or they have been eliminated from the playoffs in the East. In the West, Dallas with 98, Minnesota with 98, Colorado with 96, but the Avalanche 2 games in hand in this one. In the Pacific, Vegas in first, 103. Big win for them against Minnesota. LA with 100. Edmonton with 99. The wild card spot, Seattle with 92 points. Winnipeg with 89. Calgary in third there with 87. But it's definitely still has a shot here at a playoff spot. Nashville, 84 points. Horrible loss for them yesterday, but technically still in it. And then the bottom teams in the Western Conference. Bring up this tab for NHL, and we'll get to the comments here. So my bloody best bets have always split, except for one, I believe, were both L's. Now I'm going to go for the ultimate best bet. Oh, great. Uh-oh. Good luck to the 2 teams that I will have in my best bet, and hope the supporters of those teams don't hate me when they lose. I'm starting to get right to the. I'm starting to feel that way as well. Uh, you're not alone. Nice photo, Steve. If it's Pens, we will hate you. There you go. Likewise. Wow, Terry, the irony. Yeah, we're in the same boat. We are in the same boat. NHL sucks right now. It's baseball season. Yeah, if everyone was coming here hoping for a game by game breakdown in the NHL, unfortunately, that's not going to be happening. It is going to be quicker fashion. I'm going to be spending more time with the baseball slate as I really deep dove into player props today. So we'll get to that. Those damn Orioles. Yeah, well, they scored 2 runs and Texas didn't get any. So neither team was helping with the over. Hey Terry. Hey Crystal. What's up, Terry? Smash like. Thanks, Richie, as always. While doing wild things. Just kidding. Heart. Well, break that heart in half, Isaacs. Break it in half. Okay. Before Terry goes over the slate, I'll announce my best bets. Oh, great. No, I'm kidding. Morning, Terry. Morning, Tim. With the power bestowed upon me, my best bet for tonight is Buffalo Sabre. Oh, okay. So Melissa and Tim, um, you guys know. You guys know who to blame. No, I'm kidding. Pittsburgh. He's definitely trying to get underneath Melissa and Tim's skin. No, I'm kidding. Uh, Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Anyway, all right. Stars versus Wild round 1 is going to be fun. Yeah, no. Uh, Honestly, I think Colorado, they may finish second. I think it's between Minnesota and Dallas for the division, and I think Dallas is going to win it, honestly. So I think it is going to be Minnesota versus Colorado in game 1. Hopefully, Minnesota gets for home ice. Steve is worse than Nick. There you go. Hi, Mel. Then laughing face, grammar police. Yeah, can't stand those grammar police. But in the NHL slate today, I know, Melissa, I know you're here for NHL and I'm not really MLB, but with the NHL slowing down now, it's time to be very selective in plays. That's how I'm finding. So that's how things are going to be going from now forward. Columbus, Toronto. Um, Toronto, obviously, huge favorites. A total of 6.5 and sevens. If you're looking for the over, and if I was getting to something in this game, it would be the over 6.5. Columbus, 8 of their last 9 games over 6.5. Toronto, 6 of their last 9 games over 6.5. And 6 of the last 8 meetings between the teams went over 6.5. And you can get 6.5 for minus 130. So, okay, I thought, I didn't know it was minus 130. Probably going to add this, especially with Toronto having they had to call up Joseph Wall for emergency reasons. So I'm assuming that means that Matt Murray, who always gets hurt, is probably hurt. But I'm gonna add the over 6.5 here because it is minus 130, and both teams going over, and then they've gone over against each other in the past. I'll go through half the slate and then we'll get to the comments. That's how we'll do it here. Pittsburgh and New Jersey. Pittsburgh 4-3 in their last 7. New Jersey 3-1 in their last 7. The Devils have won the last 4 meetings between the teams, including all 3 meetings this year. And the Devils have covered the puck line in 3 of their last 4 games against Pittsburgh. The issue here is that I don't trust New Jersey right now. New Jersey had a fantastic season for the most part. They did have that rough stretch where I think they lost like 8 of 10 games. But now they're heading into the playoffs, limping in and not playing their best hockey. And that's when you want to be playing your best hockey, is when you're going into the playoffs. And I don't like what I've seen from them lately. Don't really like what I've seen from Pittsburgh either. So this game is ultimately a pass. Don't really have too much thoughts on it. Buffalo and Florida, one of the most important games of the night for the Eastern Conference playoffs. Buffalo 4-0-1 in their last 5. They're getting hot again. The Sabres team does it. Florida, they've won 3 games in a row. 8 of the last 10 have gone over for Buffalo. 7 of the last 8 have gone over 6.5 for Florida. 5 of the last 7 meetings have gone over 6.5. But as you can see, the total is not a 6.5. It's 7 or 7.5 in this one. And I'm not forcing. I'm not going to be taking sevens or 7.5s at this time of the year, between two teams that are battling for a playoff spot. Uh, if anything, I would probably lean with the under. However, both teams are going over so much right now, that I just can't take an under, with these teams. So ultimately, it's a pass. Um, Buffalo, road dog, plus 164, very tempting. The issue, Florida has won 6 of the last 7 meetings. They've covered the puck line against Buffalo in 4 of the last 6. So not not a good opponent for Buffalo. And overall, this game's just a pass. But I think it'll be a very entertaining game to watch today. Ottawa and Carolina in the next one. Ottawa 4-3-1 in their last 8. Carolina 2-2-1 in their last 5. Ottawa trending towards the over. Carolina's gone under 5.5 and 4 in a row. Uh, Carolina should win this game, but I'm not getting involved with a minus 250. Not at this time of the year. Detroit and Montreal, and then we'll get to the chat here. The 22 comments. I'll breeze through them here. Detroit 4-3 in their last 7. 4 of their last 6 have gone over 6.5. Montreal 3-6 in their last 9. 7 of their last 11 have gone over 6.5. However, 4 of the last 5 meetings between the teams have gone under 5.5. So we tend to get lower scoring games when these two teams face each other. Detroit 3-0-1 in the last 4 meetings between the teams, 7-2-1 in the last 10. I was very tempted to pull the trigger on the Red Wings money line. However, it's minus 125, minus 130 at most spots. And I just don't think, again, I'm going to say this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but uh, I don't want to, at this time of the year, lay minus 125, minus 130 with the Red Wings on the road. That just seems like it's forcing a play. But if I had to get to anything, that's what I would do in that game. I'll jump up here. Dun, 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 dun. Terry knows me well. I know you don't like baseball, but hey, it's not everyone's game. That's for sure. Let's not get cute with the NHL anymore. Yep, no reason to. Good morning. Good morning, Mossy. Leafs minus 4.5. Oh, well, that's getting cute. No, I'm kidding. Jedi Master Levi money line today. Let's go Buffalo. I'm not going to sound like a broken record, but Buffalo is going to make Levi their starting goaltender next year, and we're going to see Carter Hart situation all over again. If Carter Hart's not a good enough explanation, Spencer Knight as well. You do not rush a young goaltender, and that's what the Sabres are doing. The Sabres will continue to saber, and it's a horrible move for the organization. But what do I know? What do I know? Does Toronto care? Very good question. And that's why at this time of the year, I'm going to say that so many times. I apologize, everyone. But yeah, I'm not going to be trying to guess who cares and who doesn't right now. Lean Columbus, the road team has won both meetings this year, including Columbus and Toronto. So I can see it. Wall, where's Columbus? Traffic cones. Okay. Devils and Reg. Nico, anytime goal or an assist. Happy Monday, Tuesday, Terry. Happy Monday, Tuesday. I think you mean Money Tuesday, but yeah, it's all good. Let's get this money. Go Devils. I also like Pens minus 1.5 and Sabres minus 1.5. Well, there you go. New Jersey, Pittsburgh over 6.5 is the play in the Pens game. Best of luck. Toronto should not care. They're locked in already. And they have been resting players as well recently. Sabres money line. Go Sabres. Pens need your help. Isles and Sabres wildcard teams. I face. Nick is trying to get a reaction out of Melissa here. That's for sure. Laughing face. Maybe also Pens and Sabres to win in regulation. I have lots of money on the Sabres Pens in every way possible. Well, there you go. I will most def block the team that loses. Well, there you go. NHL is tricky right now, only 5 plays. Yes, and I don't think I've even given out one in the games we're talking about, but that will change right up here with the next game. Let me scroll down here. Philadelphia Flyers and the St. Louis Blues. I know what a game for me to choose on this slate, but Philadelphia around plus 115, St. Louis around minus 116, 6.5 totals here. Philly 4-2-1 in their last 7. They've gone over 6.5 in 7 of their last 10 games. St. Louis 6-2-2 in their last 10. They've gone over 6.5 in 7 games in a row. Philadelphia 5-3 in the last 8 meetings between the teams. I'm on the over 6.5 here. I think we get goals on both sides, especially St. Louis as of late. They're scoring goals, but Bennington is the same old Bennington and is allowing goals. I lean with Philadelphia plus 115, but I'm going to stick with the over. I can't double up on Philadelphia, St. Louis, two teams that don't care. So I'm not going to take a side. I'm just going to take that we get goals on both sides in this one. Vegas Golden Knights and Nashville Predators. I hate the Vegas Golden Knights as a Wild fan. I'm not too happy with Vegas right now. But Vegas minus 125, Nashville plus 126, 5.5s and 6s. Vegas 13-3-1 in their last 17 games. They've gone over 6.5 in 9 of their last 11. Nashville 4-4 in their last 8. Vegas 6-1 in the last 7 meetings, including both meetings this year. Second night of a back-to-back for both teams. And I don't understand this total. I'm seeing 5.5s or 6s here. Most likely to be Jonathan Quick for Vegas. Yes, Nashville is not an over team, but we have seen Lankinen get lit up recently. Vegas's offense has been on fire, but Vegas is also allowing goals. I don't think this should be at a 5.5. I don't think it should be at a 6. I think it should be at a 6.5. So I'm on the over here. Once again, I like goals in that one. Chicago and Calgary. Chicago has lost 8 games in a row, all by multiple goals. Their last 3 games by 3 or more goals. Calgary 5-1 in their last 6. They've gone over 6.5 in 7 of their last 10. And Chicago 2-0 against Calgary this year. Chicago is going for the sweep in this game. And if you've been watching the show, if you're new to watching the show, then maybe you don't know. But if you watch the show often, you know how I feel about this Calgary team. They are overpriced very, very often. And here they are at minus 385 favorites. It is Chicago. Chicago's losing by 2-3 to everybody. So this game's ultimately a pass. However, if someone was forcing me to make a bet in this one, I'd be taking the Blackhawks plus 2.5, just because they've won against Calgary twice already this year. I don't think they sweep Calgary. That would be really embarrassing for the Flames if he got swept by the worst team in the NHL. That would be pretty embarrassing, but I think Calgary comes to play. So ultimately, I'm staying off that game. Seattle, Vancouver. Seattle 4-2-1 in their last 7. Vancouver 3-2-1 in their last 6. And we are at Seattle, Vancouver, a game that, like Florida and the New York Rangers, is an auto bet for me. When these two teams face, just like Florida and New York Rangers, I bet the over. These teams have faced each other 7 times since Seattle joined the league last year. 6 of the 7 games went over. The only game that did not was the very first meeting, a 4-2 win by the Canucks. Canucks 6-1 in the 7 meetings against Seattle. I like the over. I'm hoping that Seattle didn't score all their goals last night. I hope they saved some goals for tonight because I'm on the over 6.5 in this one. I like goals on both sides. Seattle's gone over in 3 of their last 7. Vancouver's gone over in 3 of their last 6. So neither team is really heavy to the over right now, but all 3 meetings this year have gone over. As I said, 6 of the last 7 between the teams. Edmonton and LA. Uh, Edmonton 9-0-1 in their last 10 games. Just heating up at the right time. So they're the opposite of New Jersey. Edmonton, who's kind of, I don't want to say coasted throughout the season, but um, they have not looked like they have recently the entire season. They've just been on fire lately. 9-0-1 in their last 10, 7 of their last 10 over 6.5. LA 5-2 in their last 7. They have 5 of their last 6 games under 5.5. So the total is a different meeting, different going different directions here. 4 of the last 5 meetings between the teams have gone under 6.5. So at a total of 6.5, I would kind of lean with the under, but taking it under with Edmonton is just a little bit too scary here. I like the draw. Edmonton, LA, both teams really fighting for second or first or third in the Pacific, and both teams need points. And I think they go to overtime here, and we get a draw. So that's where I'm going with that one. Um, Sometimes I just go with the draw. If I look at both teams and I really think it's super close, either team could win this one. Is how I feel about this. So that's where I'm going with the draw in that one. Colorado and San Jose, pass. Colorado 10-2 in their last 12 games. Colorado 8-1 in the last 9 meetings against San Jose, covering the puck line in 4 in a row. However, the Sharks have won 3 games in a row. So San Jose on their best stretch of hockey all season long, winning 3 games in a row. As a Wild fan, I will certainly hope that the Sharks can upset the Avalanche here, but I won't be putting my money on it. That is for sure. We will get to the comments here, and this will switch over to baseball. Where are we? Where are we? Terry likes the Blues and reg. Definitely not. Philly money line. If yeah, I lean with the money line. This line is moved. Blues are minus 125 earlier. Blues have been over machines. Yeah, that's why I'm going with it. Smashville money line. Pass. I like the over. So does Melissa. Was that with or without Stone though? Without. They've been without him for a long time, and they've still been scoring. Kadri assist. Maybe a live betting night tonight. I like the Kraken money line. I think I like Kraken money line too. Hey, all right. Ew. Skinner. People take the Oilers tonight, and then Kings will win. Yeah, I'm not taking either. I'm taking the draw. Let's go Sharks. Let's go Sharks. But we'll switch over to baseball now, and we will look at baseball slate. But before we look at the baseball slate, I want to give a shout out to this website, and I'll bring it up right now. It is called swishanalytics.com. They just made my life a whole lot easier. Basically, for player props, they show you the players and against the pitchers exactly what they've done in their history against that pitcher. Starting with this game here, Max Kepler, who's off to a really rough start this year, he's faced Sandy Alcantara once and hit a home run off him. So obviously only one game, but swishanalytics.com, they have a lot of good stats here for player props. That's one of my favorite things to do with baseball is player props, players to get a hit. And I've done a lot of research so far into that. So we'll switch over here. Try to breeze through these games. Arizona and San Diego, Gallen against Darvish. Gallen off to a rough start in his first start of the season, but that's exactly what it is. It's the first start of the season. When it comes to side or total, I'm not betting anything in this game, but I do like props for Arizona. Corbin Carroll, he's 6 for 18 this year with a 333 average, and he's 3 for 5 against Darvish with a 600 batting average in games he's faced. Darvish, so I like him. Ha Jeong Kim, Kim for San Diego, 5 for 13 this year with a 3.85 average or 385 average, 4 for 7 with a 571 average um, against Gallon. And Xander Bogaerts, who has not faced Gallon this year, but he is off to a really hot start, 7 for 18 with a 389 average. That's where I would go with this game. Chicago Cubs and Cincinnati Reds. Chicago will have Wesneski on the mound, Sessa for Cincinnati. And this is a lean for the Cubs for me in this one, but I'm ultimately not pulling the trigger on this one. I like Wesneski more than I like Sessa, but I don't know how much either pitcher is going to really pitch, and I want to bet Chicago, but I'm just laying off here. But props for Chicago, Dansby Swanson, 588 average this year. He's 10 for 17, 1 for 4 against Sessa. Ian Happ, he's got a 333 average, 4 for 12. He's 2 for 8 against Sessa. Patrick Wisdom, 3 for 11, 273 average. He's 1 for 5 against Sessa. And then for Cincinnati, TJ Friedel, he is 1 for 2 against Wesneski and 267 average this year. Minnesota and Miami, the Twins, 4-0 on the season so far. I should have made the Twins my best bet yesterday, and that's where I was going to go with the Twins for my best bet today, plus 128. But I ended up going in a different direction. Of course, it's going to be player props. We'll get to it at the end here. Kenta Maeda, his first start of the season against Sandy Alcantara. Alcantara, not the worst game ever against the Mets, but definitely not the Sandy that we've seen, the dominant Sandy we saw mostly of last year. Now he gets his second start here against the Minnesota Twins, a team that has started really well this year. And I'm going to take the Twins here. Full game on the money line. I think it's just too high of a price for how the Twins have been playing. I've got one Minnesota and one Miami prop. The Miami prop, you all probably know who it is. Luis Arias. I'm going to take him to get a hit against his former team. 11 for 21 this year with a 524 average. He has been knocking the ball all around the park, not out of the park, no home runs, but he's been getting hits galore. And for Minnesota, Joey Gallo, 4 for 13 with a 308 average and 3 home runs so far this year for Gallo. And he is 3 for 8 with a 375 average against Sandy Alcantara. So he's had no issues hitting Sandy Alcantara. And he's hitting well for the Twins right now. So that is my player prop. You could look at him for a home run the way he's playing lately, but I'll just take him for a hit. And then the Twins money line. Philadelphia and New York Yankees. Strom against German in this one. The Yankees won yesterday. A few people put the Yankees as their best bet, and on the run line. And it was no sweat. The Yankees took care of the Phillies. I may have been wrong about when I said the Phillies were going to finish second in their division this year. They are off to a horrible start, but it's very, very early in the year. Now they're facing the Yankees, and I would lean with the Yankees money line in a parlay. I think the Yankees continue to win here. Looking at player props, Aaron Judge, 7 for 17 with a 412 average, but he's probably like minus 380 to get a hit. So not really worth much there. You could look at him for a home run. For Philly, Alec Boehm, 7 for 15 this year with a 467 average, 1 for 2 against German. Trey Turner, 7 for 18 this year with a 389 average. He's 2 for 3 with a 667 average against German. So those are the players that I'm looking at for that one. Tampa Bay and Washington. Um, Sidewise, um, I think I think Tampa Bay continues to win. Obviously, they're not that big of a favorite, you'd think, against Washington here. Fleming on the mound for Tampa Bay, Chad Cool on the mound for Washington. Bryant, who I had on here with the first baseball show, kind of the preview. Me and him made money off Chad Cool last year at the beginning of the year in Colorado. He started the season off really, really well, and he made me and Bryant money. But then he went back to the Chad Cole we expected eventually and got lit up. Now he's left Colorado and he's come to Washington and he's facing this red hot Tampa Bay team. Uh, I like the over here. Uh, Tampa Bay and overs wasn't something I was looking at to start the season, but they have been hitting the ball really well. Looking at Tampa Bay, none of their pitchers have faced Chad Cool, at least the players that are hot recently. And for that's Wander Franco, 8 for 15 with a 533 average, and Josh Lowe, 5 for 10 with a 500 average. Those are the two players I'm taking for Tampa Bay. Nobody for Washington. Lean with Lane Thomas, but wasn't strong enough of an edge to take him. Pittsburgh and Boston. Um, Pittsburgh, um, very high scoring game yesterday in this one, and I leaned towards the over, but of course I didn't pull the trigger. Um, and I would, or I am on the over once again here, or I'm on the over this time between Pittsburgh and Boston. Boston has been an over team to start this year off, and one of their pitchers that I love to fade, Nick Pivetta, is pitching today, 10-12 with a 4.56 ERA last year. Contreras 5-5 with a 3.79 ERA for Pittsburgh. I like the over, but I actually don't like a ton of props. Pittsburgh, it's kind of hard to find. Um, there are two players that are playing really well. Reynolds and Connor Joe haven't done very well against Pavetta, or they haven't really faced him very much. So nothing there for Pittsburgh. But I am taking Alex Verdugo for Boston. 8 for 19 with a 421 average, and he's 2 for 2 against Pavetta. Or sorry, he's 2 for 2 against Contreras. So he has had success against them. Mets in Milwaukee. Really quick with this game, I'm passing. I took the Mets yesterday and they lost 10-0. Tim and Nick, well, mostly Tim, asked me not to bet the Mets anymore. So I'm going to grant him his wish for today. I think the Mets are obviously minus 143 favorites here, and I just don't like that game. So I'm totally passing on that. You're not going to find me betting Mets props very often. It's just how it is. Before we get to Toronto and KC, I'll breeze through the comments here. Dun, 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 dun. And you know what? Actually, because we're kind of running short of time, I'm not going to bring up all the comments. I apologize to everybody. But yeah, we're running short on time. Lots of games today. So we'll just skip the chat. I'm sorry. But Toronto and Kansas City in this one. Boy, the Jays have got off to a rough start. And I was on the over yesterday and that cashed. So I was happy with that. And I'm going to pass in this game when it comes to side and total. I don't want to bet the Jays right now with how they're pitching. Sorry, I'm trying to find my sheet here. I am all out of whack. There it is. Yeah, so Toronto and Kansas City. Jose Barrios, I'm still going to stand by my statement that he's going to bounce back this year. He had a rough start his last game, but I'm not like one of the believers that believe that he's lost it and he's cooked. I think Barrios will bounce back. I stand by him. But another pitcher that I was watching all spring training strike everybody out that he faced pretty much, and that is Yusei Kikuchi in this one. As tempted as I am to take the over, You look at Kikuchi and you look at Chris Bubik on the mound for Kansas City, both last year with over 5 ERAs, I believe. Yeah, Kikuchi 6-7 with the 5.19 ERA. Chris Bubik 3-13 with a 5.58 ERA. Um, both pitchers got lit up last year, but and Kikuchi has some of these Kansas City players have hit Kikuchi really well, but I think he's gonna have a good start here, and I think Kikuchi is gonna be a surprise this year for the Jays. I think his spring training continues into the regular season. So I'm not taking an over, and I'm not gonna lay -105 with the Jays run line with Kikuchi. I'm not that confident that the Jays are going to smash Kansas City here, but there's uh, three props here for me: Matt Chapman, Matt Chapman, Matt Chapman. 8 for 15 with a 5.33 average this year. He said that not that he doesn't care about home runs, but he wants to hit. He wants to hit balls all over the field, and he's done that. 8 for 15 so far this year. He is 3 for 6 against Bubic, so 500 average with one home run. Bo Bichette, 0 for 2 against Bubic, so he obviously hasn't faced him that much. Um, and But he's 8 for 19 with a 4.21 average this year. So for Toronto, players I'm targeting: Bo Bichette and especially Matt Chapman. And for Kansas City, Matt Duffy, 2 for 4 in the year, one home run, 500 average, and he's 3 for 3. No home runs, but 3 hits on 3 at bats against Yusei Kikuchi. That's where I'd go for player props. There is Matt Duffy, but I'm definitely taking Matt Chapman and Bo Bichette. Atlanta and St. Louis here. We have Dodd, a rookie pitcher for Atlanta, against Steven Matz for St. Louis. This is a game I lean with the over in, but I don't know what to expect from Dodd, a rookie pitcher from Atlanta. But I do have player props here. Travis Deneau, 7 for 18 with a 3.89 average this year, 1 for 1 against Mats. Ronald Acuna Jr., 6 for 17 with a 3.53 average this year. He's 4 for 16 with a 2.50 average against Steven Matz. And then for St. Louis, it's got to be Goldschmidt. If you're taking a player to get a hit in a parlay, Goldschmidt to get a hit. 8 for 16 with a 500 average. I do want to clarify that I'm not betting these single. These are all players I'm just letting you know that are really hot, and then you can figure out how you want to bet them. They are parlay pieces. Obviously, these players to get a hit, some of them are like Matt Chapman's -210. But when it comes to parlays, baseball players to get a hit, that is the one time where I'll say I really do like to parlay is players to get a hit, um, especially when these players are really hot, which they currently are. Baltimore and Texas. One player for Baltimore, Austin Hayes, 6 for 13 this year with a 4.62 average, one home run. That's where I'd go if you're looking for Baltimore players. No one on Texas really stood out. However, if because I don't know who Baltimore's pitcher is going to be as of this moment, it is undecided. But if it is Kyle Gibson, who is projected, Nathaniel Lowe and Josh Smith, both 600 and 500 um, against Gibson. So those are the players I target for Texas if it is Gibson. Detroit and Houston. No player props here for me because I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. 7.5 total. I'm not betting the under, but Valdez, very good pitcher for Houston. Matt Manning, one of the few pitchers for Detroit that I do trust and that I would consider backing. But Detroit off a win against Houston yesterday. I don't think they can go back to back. So ultimately a pass. If I had to bet something, Detroit plus 1.5 or maybe the under 7.5. But I'm passing on that game. Cleveland and Oakland. Very high scoring game between those teams yesterday. Now we have a 7 total, but Sears for um, Oakland, a lefty against Cleveland who doesn't hit lefties very well. Bieber on the mound for Cleveland didn't allow a run in his first start. Um, I can't bet an under 7, but I would look at Cleveland and the under if you had to if I had to make a play. Angels and Seattle in this one. For some reason, I did not look up Seattle props, but it's Ty France and Julio Rodriguez. Very, very hot right now for Seattle. Um, I think Seattle wins this game. I was wrong about Luis Castillo in his first start. He did not allow a run in 6 innings, the same as Bieber. He pitched very well, and I could expect him to do that again in this one. Final game of the night, Colorado and LA Dodgers. 3 Dodgers props. Freddie Freeman, 8 for 19 with a 421 average this year, 6 for 24 against Marquez with a 250 average. James Outman, 4 for 12 with a 333 average, 1 for 2 against Marquez. And Trace Thompson, 3 for 9 this year with a 333 ERA or 333 average, 3 home runs as well for Trace Thompson and 9 at bats. And he's 1 for 1 against Marquez. Those are my player props for the day and the sides. Go and make sure that I didn't miss any best bets. Dun, 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 dun. I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. Cubs. Okay. Yeah, Swanson. I was going to put him to get a hit and somebody else as my best bet. However, Swanson is like -3 something to get a hit. So, but with what he's done so far this year, that doesn't make, or it makes total sense. Chicago Cubs, Swanson, over 1.5 hits, plus 180. So luck. Mets suck. Maybe I'll just keep this shot out for the rest. No, I'm kidding. Kidding. Best bet for Tim is going to be Toronto -1.5 and the over 9.5. Well, Toronto's losing this game. So when Toronto loses this game, we know who to blame. While skipping the chat, see how it is while I'm cutting into bet when repeat time on picks and parlays, and like to keep the chat around this time, if not shorter. So Jay's team total over and then over 9.5. Not betting on Jay's Royals. Want to watch Cooch. Might bet live depending on how the game goes. Richie is going to go with. I do love talking to the chat, but with like what we have like 30 games, it's just too much. Too much and too long. Judge plus Rizzo both to get a hit. Over half a hit. Or Richie. New York Yankees for people that don't know. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Brewers blank the Mets 10-0. And why do I get timed out for? That would not be me. That would be one of the Earls doing something. Josh Dung, Texas Rangers. All right. Oakland first 5. Under in LA, Seattle. Mets -1. Mets. Mets -1 or -129. All right. I didn't deep dive into it yet. I'll let you know my comment in the best bet. No problem. 2-0. We'll get to that right here. Best of luck today. You as well. Too much and too long. That's what she said. There you go. And Richie found that funny. But we'll go to the best bet segment and take a look at how things are going, even though I would much rather not. But looking at what happened yesterday, over 8, unfortunately lost in Baltimore, Texas. Captain Bry, Houston -1.5, UConn money line. Houston lost to Detroit. Nick went with the Twins money line, which cashed. Tim went with Yankees run line, which cashed. Crystal went with Tampa Bay run line, which cashed. Kev Cook went with Kopech under 5.5 strikeouts. He got 5, so close, but it cashed. IceX, unfortunately, did not cash. Lane and Clear Niam both went with Yankees run line as well, both cashed. And Terry LaJoie went with Houston on the run line, which unfortunately did not cash. And then Richie, 2 Texas players, and 1 did not get a hit. Looking at the current standings, Clear Niam in first, 2.22 units. Nick in second, Richie in third, Crystal in fourth, Lane in fifth. Close battle in this early stage of the month. Tim in sixth, Kev Cook in seventh, and then Z Goller, Captain Bry, Terry LaJoie, and then me and Icex currently leading the bottom. It bugs me. It does bug me. It really does. But can't always. Nick will tell you you can have a great night, but of course the one bet you choose for your best bet ends up being a loser. So it happens. Looking at today, for me, this is how I'm probably going to go with things going forward. 2 really hot players to get a hit for me: Tampa Bay, Wander Franco, and Toronto, Matt Chapman, both to get a hit is plus 100. IceX is going with Buffalo money line, Pittsburgh money line. Kev Cook is going with Swanson over 1.5 hits. Tim is going with Toronto run line and the over 9.5. Richie's going with Judge and Rizzo both to get a hit. Nick is going with the Mets -1. And I believe that is are the Earl fans of the Stinky Mets? Yes, they are Mets fans. Mets are part of the show now? Cool. No. But let me just make sure. I want to make sure I didn't forget anybody's best bet. So I'll just go over that after I end the show here. I don't think I missed anybody. But that is today's show. A little bit longer than I wanted, but that's what happens with such a big slate. Best of luck to everybody. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Appreciate all the support. Best of luck on your bets tonight. I hope we get a bunch of hits in the MLB, which we usually do. Unless knowing my luck, we'll see 15 no-hitters today. No, I'm kidding. But best of luck, everybody, and we'll see you again for another episode Getting Wild with Getting Wild and Flying High, free NHL and MLB picks. Best of luck, guys.